Hello and welcome back to the channel. I have made a new purchase. And this is it. It is a 96 12 valve with the manual 5-speed, and it is a dually. This is actually the first purchase that I have regretted buying almost immediately. But we'll get into that. We'll talk about some good things first. So first off, it's got the cowl hood, which is always a plus. The cab lights all work, all the lights work. Big brush guard on here, and the flatbed is all in one piece. That's a nice flatbed. It is fairly clean, especially for around here, but as you can see, it does have, little rust bubbles. The interior is pretty clean as well. Obviously, as you guys know, the second gen dash gotta be cracked. It does have the 5-speed manual, and it is 4-wheel drive. And this is it. This is where the nightmare begins. So, bought the truck, good running truck, and so far I've had nothing but problems. Halfway home, it got a rod knock, or some sort of knock, maybe fuel, maybe valves. I'm not sure yet. I haven't dug into it, but it is knocking. It has a 0 plate on the P-pump. It has 300 over injectors on a stock turbo. So lots of fuel means lots of heat, and that'll cause your engine to have issues. Second issue with this truck is it lost charge halfway through the drive. The new Cummins turned out to be a bad purchase. We are currently driving at 9 o'clock at night. It is pitch black outside. We have no lights, and the thing has a piston slap from hell. It is not going well so far. So I drove home at night, like 9:30 in the afternoon, or 9:30 in the evening, I suppose, with no lights because it just kept getting dimmer, and then no more battery. Because either the alternator is out, otherwise these trucks have auto relay shutoff switch. I don't know what you want to call it, but the switch could be bad. It's got a whole bunch of different things that could be wrong other than the alternator, including when we look over here. So the last guy was obviously just a master in the wiring department. The more I look at this wiring, the worse it gets. There is connectors hanging out of everywhere that go to nowhere. Let me just show you this one wire. This one wire wraps around itself, wraps around these two wires that are hanging, comes back, wraps underneath these two wires, wraps around the brake line, back here to a connector. So why it has this extra 4 foot of wire, I couldn't tell you, but that's something we're gonna have to figure out. Random connectors all over the place. As you can see in the cab, I already started tearing into things. This is for the trailer brakes that don't work. These are connectors for this switch here, which is for the fog light or LED light bar that also doesn't work. So yeah, we got a lot of work to do before I can start tearing this thing apart. But the goal is to make it into a Cummins rat rod. So what I'll do first is I'll get rid of the flatbed. I'll get rid of the fenders, the hood. I'll get rid of the brush guard, and then start tearing apart the cab. And probably what I'll end up doing is shortening the frame. I'll put some traction bars on there, torsion bars up front, get rid of the springs, get rid of the leaves, and put it on bags, slam it to the ground, throw like a old International cab on it, old Ford cab, old Dodge cab, something like that. Leave the engine bay open and add just the grill on it. The back I will probably put a fuel cell, radiator coming up, and then air tank for the bags. But yeah, stay tuned. We'll be getting into this very shortly. Obviously a rough sketch here, but this would kind of be somewhat what it looks like. It would have, you know, the bags, the engine, grill, that cab with the probably old semi wheels, fuel cell, radiator, compressor, engine, compounds. You know, you gotta add the compounds. But yeah, it'll probably look obviously a lot better than that, but for a quick sketch, just for you guys to get the idea of it. I've got it on the charger and I'm going to start it up for you guys so you can hear the knock and see what we are dealing with here. Well, I've made it to the point where I've taken off the rocker covers, I've taken off piping, I've taken off, I've popped fuel lines, make sure it wasn't a fuel knock. I'm pretty positive that it is something deeper in the engine, so we're gonna start by popping off this head.
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, are you laying on the ground?
By accident, yeah.
I told you to be careful of that fucking thing.
You should take it off. Well, then I don't have a
I'll
stand.
take it off with a torch.
There's an idea.
I told him I worked with a guy that, or a kid, he was a young guy like you guys. He had an F-250 and he tore his whole knee to shit. He walked with a limp because of that piece of shit. That piece of shit bumper. You're not kidding.
Yeah, I found it. Figured that one out. That's what happens when you lean too far.
Well, so far we've taken all the injector lines out, the intake, all the rocker covers, injectors, and we're ready to drain some coolant so that we can start getting these lines out of here and take everything off. Well, a couple hours later and the head is out, and this is a heavy sumbitch. Head is out. Take a look in the engine. Everything looks good, and then we get to this cylinder number 6 and there's scoring on the walls, and number 6 is moving. So we got a nice little piston slap there. Cylinder walls are washed out. So block is messed up. Now that the engine block is taken apart, I have to decide whether it is worth it for me to send this off to machine shop, get the cylinders bored out, if I want to put sleeves in it, what kind of pistons I want to run, and depending on how much power I plan on making. But for now, I think I'm going to try and keep it as stock as possible, just get it to be good running, and then it'll be a good running rat rod. And at some point I will probably compound it, because what else do you do with a Cummins? But yeah, that's about where we're at with it. I'll be getting more into that next video. So thank you for watching, and as always, God bless.